So I'm going to say what everybody says when they preach or speak. I'm not going to be up here long, except I mean it. They don't mean it when they say it, but I mean it when I say it. I will not be up here long. But I want us to do something. I'm going to share both a fictional and a non-fictional story at various points throughout the talk. And I want you to identify the silver lining in the story. Find a positive aspect in the story if you can. Let's go to the first story. Tens of thousands of Austin households and businesses went days without electricity after the last winter storm wreaked havoc across Texas. A damaging ice storm swept through central Texas beginning on January 30th, plunging much of Austin into darkness for days after the trees had caused the power lines to fall. Statewide, there was approximately 400,000, that's almost 500,000 Texans without electricity at some point. And some residents went almost 10 days total without power. Help me identify the positive in this.
This brings me back to the pandemic. He shut everything down so that your minds will be up on him. So you had to focus. So what do people do when they get in a crisis? They pray. They pray. They start talking to God. Yeah, they'll panic first, but then they start praying. Oh, Lord, even those that say, quote unquote, they don't believe in God. God, what's really going on? Even though they call his name, he comes to mind when he shuts it down. That's the positive line for me.
Anybody else? Help me identify the silver lining in this story. Can somebody help Kurt, because he's going to be running back and forth.
I'd say the bond is stronger when people help each other. So we had power during that storm, and we had people who came and stayed with us, and the bond grows. And, during the storm from 2 years ago, we lost power, and we stayed with people that we actually didn't know very well, and then became very close friends. Yeah. Oh.
Just help the mic.
You got it?
Oh, yeah,
Look.
come on, Jacob. Just grab one and help him.
Kind of piggybacking, I think it gives an opportunity for humanity to show up. Typically in the darkest times, a lot of bad things happen, a lot of bad people show up, but also it gives humanity an opportunity to show up and shine in that very dark time, to do things that we probably wouldn't consider because we haven't been challenged in that area.
I think maybe it forced people to pay attention to the things that's happening around them. It put everyone's life on halt, or almost 500,000 people. Well, actually, it put the whole state's mind at a halt and forced you to pay attention to everything that was going around you. Forced you to pay attention probably to decisions and things like that, or choices, where you're living, anything. It forced you to look at your surroundings and look at where you are.
I think it was very humbling, knowing that we're not in control. And also, it made me feel a lot of gratitude for not only that my power stayed on, but if it did go out, I knew who I could call and like where I could go. You had power this time too? Yes. We live next to a fire station, I think. I think that's what it is.
I would say a positive was that like it kind of shows you like the heart of humanity, because you kind of see people posting like, oh, if you need I have this, or come by and if you need this, or even at the grocery store, like you just see people helping out more than normal, and it's just like, oh, we actually do have feelings, because sometimes it's hard to tell.
Any other practical? Y'all missing two that I have.
It's really pretty. I'm sorry, that was beautiful. The trees that weren't falling on you were gorgeous.
And then like the spring was like a cooler spring. It wasn't super warm.
I had PTSD from because we were literally locked. It was right after COVID.
I said positive.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
Okay, well,
with
like,
it.
let me think. I got to be with family. We were real close knit. Somebody brought some diapers for Nairobi because she had, I don't know what happened. We had to get diapers for Nairobi. And somebody that had a truck came and like dropped off some diapers. So that's positive. And water. Yeah, somebody came and dropped off water. It was really cool. I mean, people already kind of said the same thing. Like people just gathering around each other and doing crazy things for people that they barely know or may not know at all. So.
For me, it helped me to be grateful for what I have, because I think we get comfortable with all the things that we're surrounded around. And I grew up hood, so I grew up with the lights being off, and I just forgot as an adult. So at first, I was flipping out like, we cannot be without lights. But it was like, girl, you know how to function without lights and without water. So it definitely helped me to tap into, the perseverance part of me. That's like, you know how to navigate this, and you know how to help the kids navigate it, and then be grateful for the stuff that you do have and the stuff that you can make work. And be mindful when you go to the store and don't grab everything off the shelf because there's other people that need it, that kind of stuff. So it really made me like tap into like the perseverance side of me and the resourceful side of me of like, you don't need all this stuff to be okay. You know what I'm saying? We were still healthy and we still navigated it. So it was a reality check for me in that regard.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. Y'all being cute. But I can't hear what you said.
I was saying no work if you aren't remote.
School or work?
Yeah, school or work.
They made us use our vacation days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bro, for
But
real?
it's positive. It's positive.
I said positive.
That's not
You
good.
have vacation.
I have vacation.
You had vacation time to take.
That's right, that's right.
No, I work for a district that used to give a fall break in October, and the past couple of years they voted to get not do it. Y'all, it was a break in October, and then a break in November, and then 2 weeks in December into January, right? And so they voted to get rid of the fall break, but we got it back. Me and my kids Monday, when I got back to class, we was like, yeah, we got that fall break back.
That's what's up. I want to read Isaiah chapter 53, the entire chapter, 12 verses. So maybe if like 6 people can read 2 each, and that'll help us get through it kind of fast. But I may stop you like they used to do in the old school church, just break you up like, hold on, let me say this, so let's go through it. If someone can read the first 2. 53, Isaiah. So it's right here on the screen too, if we want to read from the same version. This is the CSB version. Okay. Who has believed? No, I'm messing with That's how they used to do it. Yeah, read.
I rescind my offer to do this.
You got it.
Who has believed what we have heard? And who has the arm of the Lord been revealed to? He grew up before him like a young plant and like a root out of dry ground. He didn't have an impressive form or majesty that we should look at him, no appearance that we should desire him.
Let's keep on going. Oh, this on me.
He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain, like one from whom people hide their faces. He was despised, and we held him in low esteem. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted.
So we mistook his care and concern as divine punishment from God. Let's keep going.
But he was pierced because of our transgressions, crushed because of our iniquities. The punishment for our peace was on him.
Let me say something about that, because iniquities, we kind of rush past that a lot. We don't know what that means. It means our lawlessness, our rule breaking, our missing God's standard. Okay? Because of those things,
The punishment for our peace was on him, and we are healed by his wounds.
our only path to peace was through his pain. Go ahead.
We all went astray like sheep. We all have turned to our own way, and the Lord has punished him for the iniquity of all of us.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for something somebody else did? If I had time, I don't. But I'll tell you about the time my sister Aggie stole a water hose, and we all got in trouble. Actually, say it. What you gonna say?
I'm like, actually, we all conspired together.
We did.
You as the ringleader.
I was the ringleader. We got away with it, but her conscience ate her up. And she was like, I gotta tell Mom, I gotta tell. And we was like, don't tell, dummy. And so she told, and we all got in trouble. Jesus said, because of this stuff y'all did, God dealt with me about it. That's a good question. Why do we need a water hose? Have you seen that commercial, that Slitterbun commercial, when they couldn't afford to go to the water park? So they had to squirt each other with a hose. We didn't even have a hose. So we had to go steal one to be able to have some fun. We was going to bring it back. Yeah, they wasn't using it anyway. Verse 7, somebody.
He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb led to the slaughter, and like a sheep silent before her shearers, he did not open his mouth.
He suffered in silence. He didn't shift the blame where it actually belonged.
He was taken away because of oppression and judgment, and who considered his fate? He was cut off from the land of the living. He was struck because of my people's rebellion.
What he did was for the culture. It wasn't an individualistic act, but a communal act. For God so loved the world, not just an individual. I know we personalize it. We got a personal Jesus, but Jesus didn't come for your personal benefit. He came for the world's benefit. And that word world means nations or ethnicity. He came for every ethnicity's benefit. Let's keep moving.
They made his grave with the wicked and with the, sorry, I can't see.
Rich,
Okay, with the wicked and with the rich man at his death. Although he had done no violence and had not spoken deceitfully, yet the Lord was pleased to crush him severely. When you make him a...
There was something about this. that God liked. He was crushed, but God took pleasure in it. We don't like to hear that kind of stuff. There was something about this that appeased God. There was something about this that satisfied God. Somebody else suffering in pain pleased God.
When you make him a restitution offering, he will see his seed, he will prolong his days, and by his hand the Lord's pleasure will be accomplished.
He took pleasure in this. Seeing somebody die for somebody else. Last two. He maintained his righteousness in this act. Had he not did this, he would have been in disobedience to God. But in order to stay in God's good graces, in order to stay in God's stamp of approval, he did this and maintained right standing with God. And because of it, he was rewarded handsomely. I'm really only trying to get you to hear one point today, and here it is. There is grace in the gross. There is grace in the gross. And by grace, I mean what the biblical writers meant by grace, not what we have come to make it mean in theological, complicated terms. It was quite simply kindness, compassion, pity. There's kindness in grossness. Isaiah is sharing this message with people who, despite all of their distress and calamity and oppression, maintained a high expectation. They were convinced that a human representative from God, i.e., a conquering and liberating king, was on his way. Unfortunately, many of them still believe he's on his way now. More specifically, that he never even came at all. Quite frankly, they missed him because it was too gross. They missed the fact that Isaiah was foretelling and giving them a description of Israel's final king and deliverer. He came delivering them from their oppression, and they missed him. He came distributing freedom to people who had been locked up and chained up for generations, but they missed him. He came giving blind people sight, both figuratively and literally, but they missed him. He came exorcising demons and performing miracles that no one had ever seen in history, but they missed him. He came telling them about a new form of government, a new world system, the kingdom of God, but they missed him. He came redefining wealth and success and poverty and classism and redlining and expanding their view of neighborhood and neighbors, but they missed him. They missed him because the way he got here was too gross. What he did when he got here was even more gross. What it took to cement his place in history was gross. It was so gross that many of them are still waiting for the real representative from God to come. Quite frankly, they couldn't see the grace beyond the gross. And for the most part, neither can we. Because sometimes kindness comes wrapped in calamity. Sometimes kindness comes wrapped in a mess. And if you're not careful, you'll miss the blessing in the burden. I got another story to tell y'all. Little Miss Muffet. She sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider who sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. Help me identify the positive in this story. Come on, grab the mics, y'all. Help me. Help me see the silver lining in this story. Wait for the mic.
I can cover it over here.
Should I say it again? No. Little Miss Muffet. Y'all got to help me identify the positive in this story. Sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider, sat down beside her, and frightened Miss Muffet
All right.
away.
What I would say is, it's me. Well, she's not alone anymore. She was sitting there by herself eating. Now she has a little friend, a little buddy.
Okay, that's positive.
Okay, I thought about maybe the spider scared her away, but it could have been something worse. A snake. So she gone. She got saved.
She had food.
She had food, yeah. I was gonna say it didn't land on her head.
It didn't land on her head, yeah.
Maybe she had too much food. It was time for her to
fast.
Was
Yes.
So what? She got exercise. I like that. She had options of food too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
was the spider poisonous? Regular spider?
We don't know.
Well, I would say the spider lived.
The spider lived. Yeah. Any other positive? That's good, y'all.
I think it's a positive that she saw the spider, because it could have been sitting next to her and she didn't know, and then all of a sudden it's on her, and that's even worse.
She could have ate the spider.
He could have landed in the curds. He could have. The fact that she had curds to begin with is because of the spider. Okay. Y'all can make me work for this one, all right. So curds is aged milk, cheese. Now, spider's job, though, is to kill insects that would normally kill the grassland, which means the cow wouldn't have sustenance in order to make milk. So the cow had grass because the spider was doing his job. Huh? So she had food to eat because of the spider. Y'all look it up. Look at what spiders do. That's their job. The positive. Identifying the positive. If I was to ask you why God sent so many plagues to Egypt in the book of Exodus, you'd most likely give the quintessential answer that we learned in Sunday school. You'd say, because God wanted Pharaoh to release his chosen people from slavery. Yes. You'd also say, because Pharaoh was hard-headed and rebellious and wouldn't let God's people go. Yes. And while that's true, the question still remains, why did God send so many plagues? Just to jog your memory, he sent 10 of them. He turned the water into blood. He sent a horde of frogs. He sent gnats or lice. He sent flies. He authorized the death of their livestock. He sent boils on their skin. He sent a massive hailstorm. He sent a swarm of locusts to devour their crops. He sent darkness over the land. He even authorized the killing of the firstborn children. So why did God send so many plagues? I have an answer I want you to consider. You might want to close your ears for this. You might not like this. He sent so many plagues because he was being kind. He hoped they would see his grace in the gross. What looked like grossness was God giving them time and opportunity to comply with what he said. The frogs were gross. The locusts were gross. The bloody water was gross. The children dying was gross. But there was a measure of grace attached to each and every plague. God was being kind. As much as God loves us, he's not willing to let us bypass the gross. The truth of the matter is, grace and gross are in a consensual relationship. They work together to bring good in our lives, as well as to mature us. We need gross things to grow. He's not willing to let us bypass this grossness. As a matter of fact, it's because he loves us that he sometimes recommends gross. Y'all don't like this. The devil be like, I'm looking for somebody to be gross to. And God be like, him over there, be gross to him. In this life, you will have trouble. But be courageous, because I have conquered the world. The psalmist says, it was good that I was afflicted, because in my affliction I learned God's rules and his ways for living. Don't mess around and miss out on what God is doing for the simple fact you can't recognize him when things get gross. Let me fast forward. I said I wasn't going to be long. Can I tell you what God wants you to know? And I don't say this often, but I think he does want you to know this. That he wasn't trying to be rude by allowing you to go through what you went through. He was trying to get you to realize how much you need him. He wasn't trying to be mean. He was trying to get you to mention him when you made it out. He wasn't trying to be harsh. He was trying to receive honor. He wasn't trying to be nasty. He was trying to get you to notice him. He wasn't trying to pull a fast one. He was trying to get you to fast once. Who has believed what we have heard? And who has the arm of the Lord been revealed to? He grew up like a young plant and like a root out of dry ground. He didn't have an impressive form or majesty that we should look at him. No appearance that we should desire him. In other words, he wasn't all that. to the visual eye. He came in a stinky stable, laid in a filthy feeding trough, and it was gross. He came to be the final, ultimate sacrifice for humanity so that we can be in right standing with God. But it was gross. He died the grossest death that has ever been recorded. And to make matters worse, he was 100% innocent. He was the antithesis of hate. And the thing that made it even more detestable is that very few people could comprehend God's grace beyond the grossness. I'm going to end with this story. During my morning jogs, yeah, I'm trying to get back into jogging. No, I'm serious. During my morning jogs, I try to let my mind roam freely, which you really can't do that when you're with a group of people because you might say something you don't really mean. You know what I'm saying? But like when you're alone and by yourself, I tend to just let my mind go where it wants to go, you know, without any reservation, without any hesitation. And this particular time I was jogging, my mind roamed to this question: what's motivating me? I didn't think about thinking that, but it just happened. Like I let my mind run freely, and it came back to me with what's motivating me? What has motivated me down through the years? I mean, why do I write songs? Why do I write books? Why do I teach? Why do I build people up? Why do I serve in multiple churches? Why do I perform? Why do I play instruments? Why do I create content? Why do I negotiate contracts? My mind just went to, why are you doing this? What's motivating you? And I asked myself, am I low-key attempting to overcompensate for something? Or am I trying to prove something to someone? And I just let my mind stay. I was trying to, I don't know if your mind works like this, but it's like doors. And I wanted to keep going behind each door just to see, like, keep opening door after door to figure out what it is that's motivating me. And I reached my last door, and I concluded this. I'm primarily motivated by this. The things that I see as good, I want other people to see as good. And it wasn't an audible voice, but in my spirit, I heard God say, so do I. He said, so do I. What I see is good. I want everybody else to see as good. Don't miss his grace in the grossness.